فیز حالت نرمال، اینجا گردن، اینجا سینه است، پشت مهره های پشت و که به سینه قفسه سینه وصل میشه و اینجا کمره در حالت نرمال نشون میده که چطوری باید باشه. در اینجا در فیز 1 که حالت اولیه‌ایه که اتفاق میفته برای دیجنراتیو جوینت دیزیز، میبینیم که چطوری این حالت انحنای گردن حتی به حالت نرمال خود نیست، تقریبا از دست میده اون حالت کرو و منحنی بودن و در نقاط مختلف ما میتونیم ببینیم که چطوری به تدریج ما دچار این مسئله میشیم. و اینجا فیز 2 شو نشون میده که دیگه آستیوفایت اومده و حالت که بون داره تغییر فرم میده نشون داده میشه. در فیز 3 که به مراتب دیگه واقعا کاملا همه چی حالت دیجنریشن رو بسیار کامل ما میتونیم اینجا ببینیم. و وقتی که انسان‌های یه مقداری حالت اکتیویتی های خیلی شدید داشتن، مثلا یه عده‌ای هورس بک رایدینگ میکردن، از سواری، یا اینکه به ورزش های بسیار سنگین در اولای زندگیشون مشغول بودن، اینا همه میتونه مؤثر باشه. کسایی که ابیوز شده بدنشون، یعنی اینکه سیگار، مواد مخدر، الکل، همه اینا میتونه کمک کنه به اینکه ما خدای نکرده این مسئله دیجنریشن رو بیشتر از حد و یا زودتر از اون حدی که باید در زندگی باهاش برخورد کنیم داشته باشیم. و اینا همه دست به دست هم میده و خدای نکرده البته در حالت نرمال هم اتفاق میفته به تدریج، ولی هرچی این مسئله کمتر باشه خب میتونه یه مقداری برای ما کمک کنه که از یه زندگی بهتری برخوردار باشیم و سالمتر باشیم.
You've just witnessed a dramatization of the first chiropractic adjustment in history. I'm Peter Graves, and for the next 20 minutes or so, you're going to see how this single event changed the world, and you'll see how chiropractic is changing the very future and direction of the human race. A lot has changed since that first, admittedly non-scientific spinal adjustment. We have new tools, more collaboration from the scientific community. In the early days, most people saw their chiropractor because they had an ache or a pain that wouldn't respond to traditional methods and found that chiropractic could help them. Over the years, families began to consult their chiropractor regularly to ensure their continued good health. We would call that preventive maintenance. Today, we understand how consulting a chiropractor helps unlock one's personal potential, physically, mentally, and socially. Then there are those of us who know that if we can improve ourselves and we encourage others to do the same, we can begin setting the stage for a better world today and tomorrow. The best reason of all. The way we feel about our bodies, health, disease, even our attitudes, has been handed down to us from generation to generation. And though the slow, painful growth of the healthcare sciences is best left to historians, let's review the past so that we can take the next logical steps away from the attitudes of yesterday and today and into the future. Progress? Not really. The technology has improved, but the attitudes have remained virtually unchanged. Attitudes. Isn't that what guides our beliefs and actions? There's hardly any aspect of our lives more wrapped up in old-fashioned attitudes than in health care. Well, if our ideas are wrong, maybe it's because we don't know what health really is. A trusted reference in all the healthcare sciences is Dorland's Medical Dictionary. What does it say about health? Health, as it's defined here, is a state of optimal physical, mental, and social well-being, not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Webster's dictionary makes it easy to understand. To paraphrase, health, the condition of wholeness in which all the organs are functioning 100% all of the time. So, for health, you first have to have wholeness. You have to have all the parts. Now, remember, Webster says, a condition of wholeness in which all organs are functioning 100% all the time. And the last part of our health formula is time. Time means a lot. In our health formula, time means all the time that has passed and the rest of our lifetime yet to come. So here's our formula. Wholeness, having all the parts, plus function, the parts working 100% right, plus time equals 100% health. Interfere with any of the elements and you won't have perfect health. Now, if you're not healthy, which part of this health formula could you improve that would result in better health? Wholeness? You can't do anything about the parts that are missing. Time. And time marches on. You can't do anything about the time that has passed before you knew what health really is. Function. If you allow the parts you have left to function 100% for the rest of your lifetime, you'll be as healthy as you can ever possibly be. If only we can discover what allows you and me to function at 100%, we'll have the key to health. Science knows what controls function. We all do, but probably haven't given it much thought. Gray's Anatomy, used by all health professionals in the United States, puts it concisely and scientifically. It is the purpose of the brain and nerve system to control and coordinate the function of all the tissues, organs, and systems of the body. No surprises here. Function is the key to health, since function is controlled by the nervous system. That is by the brain, the spinal cord, and the nerves themselves. Now, what do you suppose would happen if we interfered with your nervous system? Ill health? You bet. A reduction of your ability to be you? Sure. The way you relate to your friends and family? Of course. A shorter life? Unfortunately, yes. Science has discovered a major interference to the nervous system which affects the function of your entire body, called vertebral subluxation, a misalignment of the vertebrae interfering with the nerve system. Chiropractic is the science of locating these interfering vertebral subluxations and the art of eliminating them, resulting in improved function and better health. Simple as that.
Good morning, Mr. Graves. You have activated the health matrix.
Yes, we're exploring the concepts of health today.
Would you like me to run my preventive maintenance program?
No. Human health.
Oh, well, that's a different matter. Have you already told them about optimum physical, mental, and social well-being?
First thing.
And how health is really 100% function physically, mentally, and socially?
That's right.
And how your brain and nervous system control that 100% function?
Yes, we just did that.
Then we're ready to cover attitudes about health. If you'll direct your attention to the visual pod, I'll show you what I mean.
Our attitudes about health are pretty important, aren't they?
That's right. A common attitude about health is emergency health care. Humans who ignore their bodies until something goes wrong, necessitating some type of emergency treatment. Then there are those who recognize the importance of keeping good health and make sure they do the right things for their body to keep it. Preventive maintenance. This is the attitude that makes sense to me. It recognizes that there's more to life than just getting rid of or preventing diseases. That there's a potential for more, much more. A potential to be realized and expressed within every human.
The attitude of fulfilling one's fullest potential as a human being is very interesting and exciting. What is it? Who has it? How did we get it? How can we keep it? To better understand our potential for a better life, physically, mentally, and socially, take us back to the beginning. Before that. Now, even before that. Okay, let's start here. Before you were you. Watch as the miracle of life unfolds. Sensitive to the fact that this child has experienced the quiet darkness of a 98.6-degree environment for its entire 9-month life, the noisy surgery room has been avoided. And what emerges is a child who from the very beginning is loved, touched, and respected. If there's been no interference, every organ will be prepared to function at 100%. Nature didn't need any help, just no interference. Let's take a closer look at the organ that's responsible for all that. The organ that controls the development of the potential and expression of our bodies, the brain. The brain is composed of 3 modules. As the grand central station of your spinal cord, the brain stem or inner brain is protected deep inside the brain. Back in the cerebellum, the control of balance, coordination, and fine muscle movement is found. In the cerebral hemispheres, control of our so-called higher functions is dictated. From these control centers in the brain, nerve impulses flow down through the brain stem, down the spinal cord, and out to the appropriate organ or tissue. Then, so the brain can know that everything is functioning properly, the system reverses, sending impulses back to the brain. How does the brain control our every organ, every tissue, every breath? The nervous system. This complex communication network of the nervous system takes on a new importance, allowing us to dance to the rhythm of life. So important is the controlling portion of this system, the brain, that it's well protected from possible damage by the skull. But the lifeline that all messages to and from the brain must pass through, the spinal cord, is not so well protected. The bones that protect this critical link in the nervous system are, unlike the skull, freely movable. Here's an X-ray of a relatively normal spine, looking from the back and the side. Now let's go in for a close-up around the neck. Notice the outline of each vertebrae is smooth and regular. Running up and down inside the vertebrae is the spinal cord itself. Normal alignment like this allows nerve impulses to travel freely between the brain and every single tissue in the body. When your spine experiences a vertebral subluxation, it begins the slow, relentless process of subluxation degeneration. First, phase 1, from birth to 20 years of age, looks like this. Vertebral misalignment has ruptured spinal nerve root fibers, setting the stage for phase 2. In phase 2, between the ages of 20 and 40, subluxations increase in severity. Bone and soft tissue decay is very evident, leading to phase 3, between the ages of 40 and 65. And now, finally, the vertebrae have fused together. Here in phase 4, the subluxation tragedy that began over 65 years earlier is clearly visible. A terminal condition has developed. Phase 4 results in a permanent lack of health and an untimely death. The chiropractor's responsibility is to correct subluxations. As this occurs, the return towards spinal normality begins. Now, we've learned that health is the proper functioning of all our tissues and organs, and we've learned that our brain controls the function of our tissues and organs, and that our nervous system, and especially our spinal cord and spinal nerves, keep our brain and tissues in constant touch with each other so we can effectively respond to the world around us. And finally, we know that interferences, particularly vertebral subluxations, interrupt those important communication pathways. The result is a very serious threat to life. Now, I can almost see every one of you saying to himself, sure, I can see what these vertebral subluxations can do, but to me, you bet. Vertebral subluxations are epidemic in our society.
Have you shown them the normal spine?
Yes.
Have you shown them the vertebral subluxation?
Yes.
And the damage?